Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bar Shem, El Shai, Bar Shem, Al Rakar, Quadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of all well. And Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Paya Allah. It's the book of Daniel, the 6th chapter. And it reads, it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. All right. So this is dealing with the Medo-Persian Empire, which basically had 120 provinces, right? Which how does the saying go? Which shadows America, all right? America has what, 50 provinces, all right? Whereas the kingdom of the Babylonians had what, 120 provinces, all right? And that's why there was 120 princes over them. Each of them delegated to be a governor over each of those provinces, all right? And over these, verse 2, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, all right? So I would guess by doing the maths, 12 divided by 3 would be 4. So each of them had 40 princes that they stood before to get their report, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. All right, so basically they were to oversee those 40 king. As I said, I'd guess they'd have 40 each to start with from, doing the division. All right, and basically Daniel being the prominent of all of them. All right, but they basically was the ones that got reports from all of those princes and then took it before the king and managed and delegated them so that when the king received a report, most of the matters of most of the issues that came before him would have been seen to. All right. Verse 3, then this Daniel was preferred above the presidencies and princes because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Right, so from strength to strength, Daniel went in showing that his expertise in the matter was, of a great standard. Now, mind you, at this period, it says, in the history, they say they figure he would be around 70 to 80 years old. All right, being that from when he was a young man brought into Babylon up until the time of then, he'd be around that age. So he was well up in his years and, well refined in his understanding. And he would have been blessed because he would continued in the understanding of the Lord, and it would have compounded upon what he had before. All right, and shine great, and that's why his spirit was so excellent. Mind you, it was excellent from the beginning. All right. Verse 4. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. Yeah, they weren't feeling that. All right, because he basically wound up taking their rank from them and basically was outshining them. And they were showing them, obviously, a good indication, a good kind of scriptural example of this, kind of show the minds of, these type of people within these realms. You get it in your workplace as well, but it's Luke 16. All right, they basically do, underhand tactics to have a favorable view before their superiors or before possible, superiors, because it shows you in the book of Luke 16, and they'll basically do underhand shit. And that's what they were doing with Daniel. All right. They're trying to find an occasion so they could get him out the way and restore their favor in the eyes of Darius. All right. But they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. All right. So he's on point. He had it locked to a T. He was found blameless before them. All right. And that's something that Paul spoke of in the book of Thessalonians. He said that we ought to be blameless before them of the, I forgot how you said it, the outward appearing or something to that effect, of the outside. All right. And that's what we ought to be. We ought to pattern ourselves in that same manner. When we appear before these other heathen nations, we ought to have, to be sought. When they speak of us, they say, I would say this because it's a good example. This is a couple years ago, man. One of the workplaces I was working at, there was an individual This guy, man, I bumped into him recently as well. But I like him. But he's a wicked nigga, man. But he's a character. But basically, he was trying to get me to go cunch, out of town, and basically make some money with him. He wanted me to come and make money with him, doing some things that is definitely nothing a man of the Lord should be doing, let alone anyone in the world should be doing anyway, because it's a bad, it's not, it's not favorable. All right. Basically make some money, and he kept bugging me every time he see me at work. Yo, come with me down to here. Yo, let's go and get some money together. Yo. And then one time, Jake had these kind of conversations. What would you do this for £10 million or whatever? And then I was saying, no, I ain't doing none of that. I ain't doing, no way I'm doing any of that, bruv. I'm not on it. So everyone was, nah, you do it, bro, you do it. But he come and vouch for me. He said, nah, he wouldn't do it. He said, there's no way he's doing it. I've been trying to get him to come country with me, and he don't want to do it. He ain't doing that. So he knew my character from trying to get me to go and make money with him. And guess what? He became a witness before those other individuals that are, my other work colleagues at the time, that I wouldn't do it. All right. And that wasn't the first time something like that happened. That's happened a couple times, similar kind of things. But that's the trial of our faith, the temptations that the Heavenly Father provides before you. All right. So let me read this again. But that's why, I guess the Spirit just made me say, let's get back on track with this, though. This is Daniel 6:4. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault. For as much as he was faithful, oh yeah, I said that as a point to being blameless to that of the outward, them outside of the circumcision. So you got to have such a regard among the people in the world, to the point where they wouldn't even believe certain things when people say, they'd be like, no, he ain't gonna do that. You know what I mean? But they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his power. All right. And all these heathen nations are savvy to the fact that these great men within the faith are, when it comes to the word, they stick to that like glue, man. There's no way you're going to get them away from that power. And that's the only way you can use the only thing they could find to basically manipulate the situation for going to get Daniel out the way. All right. Verse 6, then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that so even they're using Gal there because there was a handful of them. But guess what? They made it as if they'd the whole of your kingdom, all those of high regard, of standing, all right, within his kingdom, came and said that this should be a thing that should be done, and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any power or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. All right. So basically King Darius said what? He signed it. He said, yeah, go with it. All right. Verse 10. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house. All right. And his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, city of peace, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times, not once, 3 times a day, and prayed and gave thanks before his power as he did aforetime. So he didn't, because he was made aware of that decree, but guess what? It didn't falter his faith. It didn't make him turn to the right or turn to the left. He kept going straight, all right? He stayed on where he'd been on, all right? being on his deen, so to speak. You know, his dan, being his judgment, being dan ya Allah, right? It's only right. All right. So he stayed on it like he'd been doing from his youth up. All right. Not once, 3 times a day. All right. He made supplication unto the Lord, and he didn't stop him. All right. Verse 11. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his power. All right. And he did it so boldly to the point where that if someone came in, he didn't stop, man. Or if whatever happened, he kept doing it because that was of a necessity. All right. Why? Because Paul said it when he wrote the epistle unto the Thessalonians. What did he say? He said, pray without ceasing. All right. And and that was fittingly the best thing for him to do in that scenario as well, because you have in Luke 18th or 16th chapter, I believe it's the 18th chapter, where you had the woman that went to the wicked judge of a town, and basically, asked for the wicked lord, or the wicked magistrate, I believe it was, to basically avenge her family member, basically. And she kept going to him, pestering him, to the point where he said, look, he said in his mind, he said in his heart that, look, if I don't avenge this individual, this woman's not going to stop. So he did it. So he said, I got to do it. So with the Lord, it was the same thing. He said, nah, if this man, this wicked magistrate did this, will not the Heavenly Father avenge his very elect? Damn right he will. All right, he will avenge him speedily. That's what it said. He's going to avenge him speedily. He ain't going to... And it's the thing. Though it tarry, wait for it, for it shall not tarry, it shall surely come to pass. There's a good quote I've recently come across which said, time moves slow, but passes you by quickly. Something to that effect, which is true. All right, because at the time, when you look at time, it seems like it moves slow, when you see the clock ticking. But there's a moment where it'll pass you by in the moment, kind of thing. That's what I took from it. And it's the same, like now it seems like, it would seem to someone else, the wicked saying, as it tells you in the book of Peter, about the Lord tarry making, making his return. But in reality, when you really see, if you're in a moment, all right, if you're keeping your eyes peeled to the moment that we're in, you'll understand that the Heavenly Father is making his appearance very well known. All right. And this was, the best thing that Daniel could do in this situation. Verse 12. Then they came there and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Haste, hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any power or man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said, behold, then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, all right, Yahweh, all right, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day, not once, 3 times, all right? So, man, Verse 14, then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself. He weren't displeased with Daniel. He didn't feel like, oh, Daniel, why did you do that? He was fucked up in himself, like, shit, why'd I sign that shit, man? All right? And set his heart, being his mind, on Daniel to deliver him. So he was fucked up in the spirit for himself, like, shit, I fucked over my main guy. So he found out, he was trying to figure out a way to get around that decree so that he could, save Daniel from the judgment that he had written. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. So he labored in it, all right? He put some work in. Verse 15, then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king establisheth may be changed. All right, and it's funny because this is the reason why as well. You know, when you had the heathen trying to hinder when they came in the book of Ezra and they said we want to build onto you, and Ezra, I believe, basically said, you know, you can't. The words are escaping me right now, because I'm getting John confused with it, but I can't. It's going blank right now. But basically, they said, you know, you uncircumcised, you can't build with us. So that vexed them, and then they were trying to hinder the building of it, and they were trying to, you know, find a way. But then only what did they do? They went into the law of the Medo-Persian Empire, and it was found that it had been decreed by Cyrus, the anointed one, by the Heavenly Father, that they should build a second temple, and that's what allowed them to build it. All right. Verse 16. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of the lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, thy power, whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. All right? So that's even as the Spirit of the Lord jumped on him. Because he said, look, man, even though he wrote that decree in his ignorance, he spoke totally out of term in accordance to it. He said, your power is going to deliver you, man. That you service not on one day a week, service continually, all right? Because he's done it from his youth up. Made supplication before the Lord 3 times a day, all right? Verse 17, and a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet, all right? So they put the stone over the den, and it was sealed with his signet, which is, you know, well, let me read on. And with the signet of his laws, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. And the events that unfold going on are going to show to what power this king has. All right. Verse 18. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. All right. What happened? His appetite left him. Why? Because he was in great pangs of sorrow for Daniel's sake, man. Neither were instruments and music brought before him. He didn't get his evening, you know, serenading of music. They didn't come with the mandolins and the dulcimer, the trumpet, or whatever have you, the harp, whatever calming music he would have before he go to, you know, when he feasted or he slept. All right? He didn't want none of that. His mind was heavy because of Daniel, and his sleep went from him. Yeah. Verse reading on. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste onto the den of lions. All right. So he just, when the sun run down there, he wanted to know. Verse 20. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel, and spake and said to Daniel, "O Daniel, Allah," which is quite funny when I think about it. It just hit me now. He wasn't being called Belshazzar no more. Right? He was regarded as Daniel. And that shows you that, you know, the kingdoms of the ways of men is very not fickle. It's I mean, no, fickle ain't the right word. It's temporary. All right. There's a word that begins with F I'm thinking of, but it's escaping me. But it's you know, it's something, it's fly by night kind of thing. All right. Because his name is the name that he was bestowed, Daniel Allah. God is my judge, or judge of the Heavenly Father, judge of Yahweh, all right, judge of power, which he really is, all right. Basically, you know, was established. And this really is establishing it as well. Only it's a testament unto what? Of the Heavenly Father, all right. Servant of the living power is thy power, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions. Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My power have sent his angel and have shut the lions' mouths. Just like when you go back to Hananiah, Azariah, Mishael, what happened with them? When they were put in the oven, right, there was the Son of Man, Yahweh Shai, came and basically abated the flames from even singeing any of their garments, man. All right? The same thing happened with the dealing of Daniel in that time. He had a fierce angel in the den with him that closed up the mouth of the lion, humbled him before Daniel. All right? That they have not hurt me, For as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, I have done no hurt. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his power. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel. All right. And they cast them into the den of lions. All right. Them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had mastery over them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. You know, the angel abated that the lion's hunger, man. Hey, even what did it tell you? That's the spirit. That's the devil. Because what did it tell you? Satan patroleth as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. So that when the Satan's being likened unto a lion, all right, of a ferocious appetite, all right, in looking of souls that he may consume, in turning them away from the Lord. So that shows you, for a lion's mouth to be stopped, that's a great deal, all right? But there was a meal promised them of the wicked, man. And that's why it says, he that diggeth a ditch, the same shall fall into it. You know, loosely paraphrasing, all right? So it says, verse 25, then King Darius wrote unto all people, nations, and languages, all right, that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the power of Daniel, for he is a living power, Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh, right? And steadfast forever, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. All right. And that goes into the point of what? The signet that signified the king and his lord's decree upon Daniel. It came to naught, man. It didn't do nothing. It didn't do nothing. Not a damn thing. All right. So what does that show? That the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. And that's being established by the decree being spoke of here by Darius the Mede. All right, verse 27, he delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who have delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel proposed in the reign of Darius, and in the reign of Cyrus the Persian. All right, so with that, I pray you're edified to the next one. Say shalom, shalom.